Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 7 of the Good Omens fan fiction Ineffable Nights. This chapter is What is Love?
All right, so far so good, Angel. Glad my cloak hides you so well.
Crow whispered over his shoulder to Azzy, who huddled against the outer wall of the castle as Crow peered around the corner. Crow was checking to see how crowded the courtyard was between them and the stable where Dagon stood in the stall, tacked and ready to bear them away from this accursed place.
Get ready to run when I do.
Azzy remained silent, but gave Crow's hand a squeeze to show he'd heard. A few slug-like beings drifted along, laughing unpleasantly, but Crow wasn't too worried about them. They were lesser fallen, and no match for either himself or Azzy, even in the Celestial's weakened state.
Okay, come on,
Crow hissed, and half-dragged Azzy across the barren courtyard. A cough caused Crow's heart to stop, and he paused and looked over to see an insect like Fallen, staring at he and Azzy's interlocked hands. Thinking on his feet, Crow glared right back at the entity.
What? Never had a quickie in the stables before?
The thing's antennae waved furiously, and a clicking sort of chuckle escaped its mandibles.
Ah, carry on then. If your chattel is willing, I'll take a crack at it after you.
The thing's eyes glittered with malevolent lust. Crow felt Azzy's hand damn near crush his.
I'm not one to share, friend,
Crow snarled and bared his fangs at the insectoid.
Perhaps I should introduce myself. Lord High Tormentor Crow at your service. Besides, when I'm done, they're usually unconscious anyway. Now sod off, you bug-eyed bastard.
This was followed with an aggressive hiss and a flick of his forked tongue. The insectoid seemed startled and raised all four of its hands in surrender.
My apologies, Lord Crow,
it chittered before scurrying off.
Right, sorry, Angel, come on.
They made it to Dagon's stall, and Crow helped Azzy into the saddle before athletically leaping up behind him and reaching around to take the reins. Weak as the Celestial was, Crow would rather he had the saddle and stirrups for comfort and safety. They burst out of the stable in a mad dash, headed right for the closest open gate. They blew past the startled guards before they could even try to draw the lever to send the iron gate crashing down, and even the men posted atop the wall were too stunned to send arrows after them. Crow grinned recklessly, turning his head a bit to taunt them over his shoulder.
So long, suckers!
He yelled and flicked his snake-like tongue at them in a most infuriating manner.
Traitor!
He heard Haster's voice scream at him from the wall, and he grinned wider as he imagined how the toad-like man would swell up with rage.
Lord Beelzer will hear of this!
Like I give a furry rat's ass, Crow mumbled in Azzy's ear as Dagon pounded away from the noise and confusion behind them. Won't be returning anyway if I can help it.
Where are we heading now, Crow?
Azzy asked, his voice so weak with exhaustion Crow could barely hear him.
Well, first I guess I'll make a stop in the cursed woods to warn old Terrymore of the impending doom. What?
Azzy's drooping head snapped up, and he gave Crow a flabbergasted look over his shoulder.
You want to go warn a troll? He eats people, Crow.
Well, Crow replied with a shrug and a saucy grin. No one's perfect, Angel. Besides, he promised me he wouldn't eat you, and he didn't. Only fair I warn him that the Celestials are about to storm through the cursed forest, killing everything in sight. Oh, good Lord, Azzy muttered darkly, but he didn't disagree. And after that? After that, Azzy, I guess I'm taking you home.
You said you were worried about your family. And yes, we can cut over through the human village so you can beg any of them fool enough to have not evacuated yet to leave before my kind and yours turn this whole area into one big ring of fire.
But Crow, you can't. If my kind see you, I dare say you'll get the same treatment as your kind gave me, or worse.
Crow sighed. It had crossed my mind, Angel, but I'm not leaving you alone, not in this state, not this time.
Oh, Crow.
Azzy fell silent as his heart swelled with affection, even as his head swam with worry for his friend. And that's where I will end part 1 of this chapter, and I'll get the next one done as quickly as possible.